Champions aren't the strongest. They're the ones who refuse to skip. Think about that for a moment. Because the world loves to worship talent. People point at successful athletes, performers, entrepreneurs, and say, they were born gifted. No one points at the unseen nights. No one talks about the mornings when they didn't want to get out of bed. No one celebrates the days they were exhausted, angry, discouraged, but still stood up, still showed up, still moved forward. Real champions aren't made on their best days. They reforged in the days they don't feel like doing anything at all. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man named Daniel. Not the smartest, not the fastest, not the most talented kid on the field. In fact, when he first joined the track team, his coach told him something brutally honest. You're slow, but you don't give up. Most people would have taken that as an insult. Daniel took it as a mission. He wanted to prove that consistency can beat natural talent. He wanted to prove that showing up mattered. He wanted to prove to himself more than anyone that the person who endures eventually wins. So he made a promise. No matter how tired I am, no matter how busy I am, no matter how bad I feel, I'm going to run every single day. And he did. At first it was easy. Motivation was high. He was excited, energized, determined. But motivation is a spark. It lights the fire, but it doesn't keep it burning. Because soon came the days that test the truth of your commitment. Rainy mornings, cold winds, homework piling up, friends making plans. The days when your legs feel heavy. The nights when you just want to lie down and stay down. And more than anything, the voice in your head whispering, just skip today. You can make it up tomorrow. Everyone knows that voice. That voice is the enemy of greatness. But Daniel had made a promise to himself. And every time that voice whispered, he whispered back, no, I show up. A few weeks later, he was running on a freezing morning. His lungs burned. His legs ached. Every instinct in his body wanted to stop. And at that moment, a car drove by. Inside was a fellow teammate, a guy who was naturally faster, stronger, and more athletic than Daniel. The teammate rolled down the window and said, bro, you're crazy. Rest. Skip a day. You don't need to run every morning. Daniel smiled. Not because he wasn't tired, but because he understood something his teammate didn't. Consistency isn't about feeling good. Consistency is about doing what you said you'd do, long after the excitement is gone. So he kept running. Weeks passed, then months. Every day he got a tiny bit better. Not 10% better, not 5% better, just 1% better. Barely noticeable improvements, invisible progress. And while others ran only when they felt motivated, Daniel ran when he was motivated and when he wasn't. And that was the advantage. One evening at practice, the coach blew the whistle. 800-meter test run. Let's see where everyone stands. The naturally gifted teammates smirked. He always finished first. Everyone expected him to win again. The whistle screamed. They ran. The teammate exploded off the line. Daniel started slow, as usual, but something felt different this time. His body didn't fight him. His breathing wasn't chaotic. He wasn't struggling. He was flowing. Halfway through the run, the team noticed something strange. Daniel was gaining ground. Not fast, not dramatic, but steady. The teammate, who always dominated the first half, started to fade like he usually did. But Daniel didn't fade. Why? Because Daniel trained on tired days. Because Daniel trained through discomfort. Because Daniel trained when every cell in his body begged him to stay home. Daniel closed the gap. Then he passed him. Smooth, controlled, focused. When Daniel crossed the finish line first, the entire team went silent. The coach walked up to him, placed a hand on his shoulder, and said, "This is what discipline looks like. Not talent, not luck, not gifts. Discipline. Because talent gives you a head start, but discipline determines where you finish." The teammate who used to win didn't suddenly get slower. Daniel didn't suddenly develop superhuman speed. The difference was simple. One trained when he felt like it. The other trained whether he felt like it or not. Champions aren't born on the days they feel good. Champions are built on the days they feel lazy, unmotivated, distracted, stressed, or tired, but show up anyway. Think about your own life. How many times have you promised yourself, "I'll start tomorrow. I'm too tired today. I don't feel like it right now. I'll do it later." But tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next month. And eventually, you realize motivation abandoned you a long time ago. And you never built the habits to keep going without it. That's why showing up, especially on the days you don't want to, is the secret. Not massive action. not giant steps, just persistence. Let me show you something powerful. You don't need 100 great days. You need one great day, repeated 100 times. One day of showing up, one day of effort, one day of progress, repeated, stacked, accumulated. That's the formula for success. There's another story, this time about a boxer named Marcos. Marcos was not the strongest fighter. He didn't have knockout power. He didn't have the perfect physique. But he had something else. Something deadly. A refusal to quit training. His coach used to say, "Marcos trains like he's already behind. Early mornings, late nights, while other fighters partied, rested, or skipped training after a big win. Marcos showed up. One night, after a brutal sparring session, Marcos lay on the bench exhausted. He said, "Coach, I don't feel like training tomorrow." The coach nodded. "Then don't train tomorrow." Marcos looked confused. The coach continued, "Don't train tomorrow, but show up." "What do you mean?" "Walk into the gym. Even if you don't punch a single bag. Even if you just sit in the corner and watch. Just show up. Step into the building. Once you're here, your body will remember who you are." Marcos didn't understand fully, but he trusted the advice. The next day, exhausted, he dragged himself into the gym. He sat on the bench, watched others train, watched gloves hitting bags, feet shuffling, breath controlled, sweat hitting the floor. And then something sparked inside him. He stood up, wrapped his hands, tied his laces, and began training. At the end of the session, he walked up to his coach and asked, "Why did that work?" The coach said, "Because the hardest part of training is putting on your shoes. Once you show up, the rest follows." Think about that. The hardest part of going to the gym, ice and tea lifting weights, it's driving there. The hardest part of studying isn't learning, it's opening the book. The hardest part of writing ice and tea the paragraphs, it's sitting down in the chair. Champions understand this. That's why they force themselves to show up, even if they're not in the mood. Because they know the truth. Your mind lies to you. Your mind exaggerates the difficulty. Your mind creates resistance. But once you take the first step, the rest becomes easier. So if you want to change your life, don't focus on perfection. Don't focus on intensity. Focus on consistency. Show up, even when you feel slow. Show up, even when you feel tired. Show up, even when you feel overwhelmed. Show up, even when you don't feel ready. Show up, even when you feel like the least motivated person on earth. Because every time you show up, you collect proof that you are disciplined. You collect proof that you can be trusted. You collect proof that you are stronger than your excuses. And that proof builds confidence. And that confidence builds momentum. And that momentum builds champions. Now here's something powerful. You don't have to show up perfectly. You just have to show up honestly. If you're tired, show up tired. If you're stressed, show up stressed. If you're sad, show up sad. If you're unmotivated, show up unmotivated. If you're not feeling your best, show up anyway. Because greatness doesn't demand perfection, it demands presence. There's a reason people who show up win. Momentum. Every time you show up, even in a small way, you're building a rhythm. You're planting roots. You're strengthening your identity. And identity is everything. If you identify as someone who tries, you will quit when life gets hard. If you identify as someone who waits for motivation, you will fail every time motivation disappears. But if you identify as someone who shows up, it won't matter how you feel. It won't matter what obstacles appear, you will still move forward. Champions don't win because they feel good every day. Champions win because they show up every day. Consistency turns average people into dangerous competitors. Consistency turns beginners into experts. Consistency turns dreamers into doers. So let me ask you something important. What have you been avoiding? What promise did you make to yourself but haven't kept? What goal have you been delaying because you don't feel like it? Whatever it is, start today. Start small. Start slow. Start messy. Just start. Go for a 5-minute run. Do 10 push-ups. Read 2 pages. Write 1 paragraph. Learn 1 new thing. Send 1 job application. Make 1 piece of content. Take 1 step. Then do it again tomorrow. And the day after that. And the day after that. Even if you don't feel like it. That's how champions are born. Because eventually, the excuses get quieter. The doubt gets weaker. The discomfort gets smaller. And the identity gets stronger. You stop being someone who tries. And you become someone who does. Someone unstoppable. Someone consistent. Someone disciplined. Someone who shows up. And that's the mindset that builds champions. Not strength, not talent, not motivation, just the decision. I said I would, so I will. One day at a time, one step at a time, one choice at a time. Show up today, show up tomorrow, show up for your dreams, show up for your future, show up for the person you're becoming, show up for the life you know you deserve. Because champions, they don't skip, they keep going. Even, and especially, on the days they don't feel like it. That's what makes them champions. So stand up, take a breath, take a step, and show up anyway.